Thank you. Thank you so much, Tama, and thank you so much, Molly. And it's so fun being here. I'm loving looking at all your faces and all your different smiles. All right. I'm going to begin with my story tonight. I did not realize I was living apart from nature and had been for years. I was paralyzed in a horseback riding accident 30 years earlier at the age of 14 and had used a manual wheelchair ever since. Nature seemed unavailable to me, and I think I forgot about it until birds. Until one amazing springtime morning in an East Texas forest where I sat alone, spellbound by birdsong. The ethereal songs of wood thrush, yellow-throated warbler, the hooded warbler, and the high sewing machine song of the pine warbler. I realized I was meeting my best self right then and there on that bridge, and I was happier than I'd ever been. I often think the birds that morning announced that revelation. I called my mom and I asked her, "Mom, why didn't you tell me I was a nerd? My life would have been so much easier." You see, birds delivered a community of like-minded people who met regularly inside and outside to learn about birds, people who helped, listened, taught, and laughed, curious people, interesting people, joyful people, people who hoisted me in the wheelchair up and down stairs, in and out of cars, trucks, trains, buses, boats, and golf carts. People who became my best friends. The birds delivered what I consider a necessity for happiness. That is lifelong learning. Learning about habitat, distribution, songs, field marks, and behavior, to name a few. And then learning it all again as seasons or contexts changed. Learning about sparrows and shorebirds again and again with people who knew I wasn't studying and loved me anyway. The birds delivered beautiful new birding sites far and near, county, city, state, and national parks I'd never seen. New trails in different places, the thrill that travel brings, the pelagic trip in San Diego, the famous McGee Marsh in Ohio, the fabulous Cape May, New Jersey, the tropical beauty of the Rio Grande Valley, the high desert beauty of southeastern Arizona, the icy experience of the rosy finch in New Mexico, and most recently, the exquisite forest beauty of the Olympic Peninsula. The birds delivered physical and psychological challenges, to be sure, but challenges led to accomplishment. I didn't know what I could do outside on trails, on trips to new places with new people or alone. But I learned just what I was made of by doing it. Empowerment with a capital E. Birds gave me that. Spending an hour enchanted by 4 Lincoln sparrows in the flattened brown winter grass, spotting the just arrived winter orange crown warbler's shadow through my bedroom shade, witnessing 20 cedar waxwings descending on my bird bath, ringing it in their exotic buffy browns, yellows and reds, and exotic black eye lines. Seeing finally the white wagtail miraculously materializing on an Austin graveled bank I stared at it until my eyes hurt as the dusk slowly took it away again. Hearing the loud nasal peeping noises of the American woodcock, which varied in number from 10 to 15 to 30 prior to his incredible rocket-like launch into the darkening sky. The twittering sounds of air rushing through his wingtips is otherworldly. His silhouette looked so much like a very large bumblebee zooming off into space. Watching 3 red-tailed hawks positioned above us, flying but not flying, side by side, strangely still, facing an airstream like kites vying for space, tied without strings to earthly hands. Or are they like surfers somehow, still in the current, waiting for a wave? Or are they like trout in a stream, seemingly still sharing an oncoming current? Finally, as you can tell, birds gave me an abundance of joy. They gave me my best life. Thank you.
Thank you, Virginia. Molly?
Oh my gosh, Virginia, I feel like I just got taken into a million vignettes of like that each just has so much depth to them. And the way that you experience birds is just like in Technicolor. And yeah, and just they were thick with meaning and relationship and time. And it was just, yeah, it was just like beautiful to travel between these moments, and also just like the revelation of birds in your life. And you know, to your mom, why didn't you tell me I was a nerd? When we discover these huge parts of ourselves that we didn't know were there.
That's right.
The homecoming. So for all of you out there, feel free to feed the story as we are in the chat. What moved you about Virginia's story? And Tama, do you want to add?
Yes, I do. I want to say thank you for sharing, like Molly said, the vignettes and the overall connection to birds and how they saved you and brought joy, and really illustrating and illuminating our theme of the just the connection and the life-saving qualities that they have. And for that, you continue to share that joy around the world. Dare I say yes, around the world. So thank you. Thank you.
And in the chat, beautiful. I love how you poetically describe your experiences with each bird. Magical. Well, sorry, the chat's going quickly. Love the description of the pine warbler song. Hadn't thought of that before. And that was a beautifully descriptive story of what it means to experience birds and how birds are the entree into our best life, potentially. Your joy is contagious, the wonderful way you describe the birds and your reactions to them. Thank you, Virginia, for kicking us off. And I would love to publish that piece for Audubon so we can share it widely. That's something you're interested in.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
And continue to see the chat, the comments in the chat. The only thing we do ask is it's fine to do that now. We have go to the next storyteller during the story. If we could pause chat, putting anything in the chat so that we can focus on the story. That's what we ask for. So thank you.
All right. Are you all ready for your next storyteller?
Yay.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. We've got Dwayne. Dwayne, are you out there? Can you unmute?
Yes. Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Hi, thank
Welcome.
y'all. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for hosting this tonight. It really means a lot, Virginia. I just absolutely, I'll get to it, but your story and Birdability has meant just the world to me. In 2016, I had an injury, and before then I was an airline pilot. And after my injury, I was diagnosed with a rare chronic pain condition called CRPS, and it ended my airline career, and went into severe depression, anxiety, and just everything. I'd started, my first flight was when I was 8 years old. I just always knew what I was going to do. And it was about 3 years into my recovery program. I was at the Shepherd Center. I'm in Atlanta. And I was at the Shepherd Center, and I was lucky enough to go on one of their field trips, and it was a bird watching trip. And I was like, why am I going on a bird watching trip? I'd never been bird watching in my life. I'm like, this is a terrible idea. Wrong field trip to pick. And I go on the trip. It's an overnight. It was the first time I had been out since my accident, like in community or anything. And I'd just gotten a brand new scooter, was ready to go on this field trip and ready to go participate in my life. And we get out there and the scooter doesn't work. And I was not very good at my coping skills back then. And to this wonderful woman, Wendy, that worked for the Shepherd Center, she just like calms me down, and she takes me over to the visitor center, and we just sit on these benches. And then everybody starts walking the trail. And I'm like, this lady is really mean. Why would she sit me here so that I could just watch everybody as they go out? And she was like, well, you know, there's different ways of, you know, bird watching. You can also do it by listening. And so we sat there at the visitor center, and I'm like, yeah, okay, lady, sure. I want to be out there in the woods. And so with CRPS, it affects your nervous system. So like your fight, flight, freeze, and things like that. So anytime like there's any my heart rate goes up, my pain goes up. And so now that I'm upset right now, my pain is very high. And so as we start listening to the birds and identifying them, the first bird that I ever identified by sound was the towhee. And so I close my eyes, I'm listening for this sound she's telling me to listen to, and I find it. And then the next one, and then the next one. And what I discovered was my pain went down, because I was so focused in on listening to the birds that it just calmed my whole nervous system down. And I was like, surely this is a fluke. And then did it again and again and again. And it just became a day. It's part of my therapy now, and still is today, 6 years later. Every day I start my morning with at least 5 minutes of just sitting out on the back porch and listening to the birds. And yeah, it's just been absolutely life-changing for me. And then fast forward to just a couple of months ago, I met one of the wonderful employees of Birdability, and reached out and talked to me. And I was able to, for the first time, share my story through the blog on Birdability. And what I loved so much was that, so now my career has actually moved into, now I'm a professional photographer, and it's nature and birds. And so my article was titled, I Traded in My Wings for Wings. And it was the first time I was able to really share that story. And so just a huge part of my healing. And then I'll finish up with what I have now done to kind of push it forward and really highlight accessibility issues and things like that. When I have solo gallery shows, I make sure that the art is put down at an accessible level, so that way when other people come into the galleries that might not, that have accessibility needs and things like that, that they can view the artwork as well. So that's been one of my big pushes here in Atlanta, is making sure galleries are set up in an accessible way. Thank you so much, Virginia. Thank you all so much for hosting, and I really appreciate you. Thanks for letting me share my story.
Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you so much for sharing your personal story of illness, chronic pain, and how birds have transcended you to connecting in community and in continuing to be out there and touching others. I like that about the trading wings for wings. Continue to soar. Thank you. Nice to meet you in the person.
Yes, you as well. 2 dimension. One day we'll see each other in 3 dimensions.
Yes, we share CRPS, unfortunately. But yes. And there's comments coming in the chat. I don't know if you see those.
Can I say something not in the chat?
Of
Yes.
course.
So Dwayne, I am so happy to meet you virtually. I'm just gonna go out there and ask you to be a Birdability captain there. Could you do that and be a more integral part of Birdability with all that you have to offer?
Yes, I'd absolutely love to. Yeah, I didn't share that part of the story. So when I was at Shepherd Center, they work very tightly with the Georgia Audubon.
Right.
Yes, with Melanie. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
So I just did a bird watching trip with them just recently. So yeah, very good friends with Melanie. And yes, I would absolutely love to. Thank you so much.
Oh, excellent. I'll be in touch with you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks.
And there's like as a retired, there's a comment of as a retired pilot, I think we appreciate birds in a unique way. Flying is hard. And I think that's really symbolic, right? Flying is hard. We all fly in the ways that we can and the ways that we do. So Carly, you want to read some of the chats?
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
Yes.
Something not super related, but someone asked if a link will be sent out of the recording.
Yes, we will be sending everyone a link of tonight's event after probably next week. And it'll be on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Thank you. All right, so I'll read some of the comments. Lots of thank yous, lots of hearts out to you, Dwayne. Someone said, yes, birds up, pain down. That was funny. Yeah, people really like that. I traded my wings for wings quote. Yeah, lots of love. Just someone said the story about listening to birds and the therapeutic effects of listening to birds. It's really important. And yeah, I think that's just lots of love to your story.
Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. It's incredible. All right, are you ready for your next storyteller?
Let's do it. Come on down.
Kate Schaefer Shelby. Kate, are you out there?
I am here.
All right.
My story is about crows. Now, for us, I live in Eagle Rock, which is a suburb of Los Angeles, and we live on a little horseshoe-shaped street. And one morning, my husband meditates every morning early. So about 5:30 in the morning, he heard the crows carrying on like, like they were, something was being attacked. So he got up from his meditation bench and he walked outside and he saw that a coyote, which we have a lot of coyotes that have come down, because they have no place else to go, had cornered one of the neighborhood cats. And so the crows had seen it and were trying to alert somebody to come help. So my husband and I were able to grab whatever we could, and we went over and were able to chase away the coyote and to rescue the cat. So that even though the coyote did come back around a couple more times, which I know they do, but it gave me a whole new perspective on crows, because the crows I'd always seen them as stealing from the mockingbird nests and everything else. But then I realized what great little watchbirds they are and how they, they're looking out for their other species too. So we were really, really touched. And so now we get peanuts, raw peanuts, or roasted peanuts that aren't salted, so that we can feed them, and they're trying to get more birds to come into the yard. And that's all.
Awesome. Thank you, Kate. I have to say, I really resonate with your story because I was inside my house making dinner the other night and I heard these crows, this little mob of crows, going off about something. And I was like, wow, they're really talking about something, like, and I like knew just to go in my backyard. And I was like, I know something's in my bushes, because they were all like very focused, alarming. And then I saw the fur of the coyote and the little ear and the tail go trotting by. And now that coyote's been making the rounds, and I've been very concerned about my cats who are indoor. But yeah, they're great allies. They're great allies.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Carly, do you want to read some of the chat?
Yeah. Few comments. Someone said, Corvids rule, wonderful story. Great story. Crows are so smart. Someone said, yes, corvids aren't always morbid. And then someone also said, cats belong indoors, please. And Cindy says, thank you for sharing and for reframing our response. Those are all the comments.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Beautiful. Really beautiful. Bringing community. So when you said, can I just clarify, when you said, did you say they are bringing more birds to the yard, or you're trying to bring more birds to the yard at the end?
No, we're trying to bring more birds to the yard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they're smart. So I thought, well, maybe they're like
yeah.
rallying.
No, what happened is we had a neighbor who lived across the street and she had all these bird feeders, and the crows used to come around all the time, but then she moved to the East Coast. So there hasn't been that many people feeding the birds. So we're trying to bring them back and creating a space for them. Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying.
Thank you. Thank
you, Kate.
Thank you.
All right. Our next storyteller, Mychelle Wave or Michael Wave. I'm not sure how I pronounce your first name.
Hi. Yes, pronounced Mychelle Wave.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I wanted to share a story through song about the blackbird, and going back to my childhood, how I was always fascinated with birds, especially the blackbird, but it had such a bad omen attached to it. It was like taboo to have a connection to the blackbird. And there's this song in particular that I've always been fond of, but it always has such a sad tune to it, a sad tone. But I've found hope and solace in the song. And it's called Blackbird by Nina Simone. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that song tonight. Blackbird, why you wanna fly? Blackbird, you ain't never gonna fly. For your daddy's name was lonely, and your mother's name was pain. So they called you Little Sorrow. Said you'll never love again. Why you wanna fly? Blackbird, you ain't never gonna fly. For your daddy's name was lonely, and your mother's name was pain. I am a blackbird, and I'm learning how to fly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have goosebumps and chicken bumps, goosebumps, and chills. That was beautiful. I mean, it just said so much, and it's been a while since you sang it very beautifully. There's lots of chats coming in, which Carly could help out with that. And Molly and Carly, what are your, do you want to share any too?
Yes, I can share the comments and I have my own comments as well. But so people in the chat are saying beautiful song, lovely. Thank you for sharing. You have a beautiful voice. I agree. Just lots of thank yous. Someone said you honor Nina Simone. That's very sweet. Someone said you're a beautiful young woman. I also agree. You're lovely. So beautiful. Someone said, love seeing you and your babe. Yeah, I know. You have your baby there. It's so cute.
That's a
Yeah.
lucky baby.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
thank you so much for sharing that song.
So how has it helped you? Do you mind just like a minute or so of just, if you don't mind sharing, you said that song has helped you.
Yes, yes, of course. Thank you so much. I always felt like in my family structure that I was like ostracized, the black sheep, so to say. But realizing that it's not a horrible position to be in, it's actually the position of healing and hope when you're the black sheep in the family. But I resonated with the black bird and I connected the two. So it's symbolic of being the one that is stuck in a cage in the family system. In the familiar system in my family dynamic, but realizing that I've always had the key to the cage as the black bird. But sometimes we get trapped because we feel like we have to do things, or I felt like I had to do things in the way that was accepted in my family. And it took a lot for me to realize that that's not the way for me to go. And so the song itself gave me hope. And instead of looking at it like, again, a horrible place to be in, I saw it as a place of hope and a place of healing for not just myself, but for my family. And so the blackbird is a necessary part of any family structure. And I realized that that's just the role that I decided to take in this lifetime. And so I've honored that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your truth and your story. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's really, yeah, it's been amazing to be with you in these just few minutes. How much you've moved me in just a short time, and all of us. And that baby is so lucky to have you singing in their ear. And thanks for the baby for being here too.
And keep looking at the chat. Folks are, and this is part of our community, right? The chat is part of our extension to our community. So thank you all. And who is next? We still have a little time.
Julia Yarbo. Are you out there, Julia?
Hi, everybody. I'm back and forth doing things as I've been listening. So I just want to say I'm new to the group and I love what you're doing here. This is so positive and warm and inspiring. So I'm glad that I could take part. So I'll dive right in. So my story is really, I didn't think about it in the moment. And then when I saw the invite for this chat, I thought I have to jump in here and join and share. So my career background is as a broadcast journalist for many years. And I covered a lot of really bad news that makes you just feel tired and exhausted, and it hurts your heart and it makes you question human nature. And I did that for many, many years. And so in 2009, I was living and working in Miami, very fast-paced city with a lot of that bad news. And I took my first vacation to Alaska. It was the first time that I'd been in that part of the country. And I remember the day of connecting in my mind with a bald eagle and seeing a bald eagle up close. And when I think about that moment, I honestly believe that seeing that bird in its habitat doing what it does, so majestic, so strong, so powerful, put me on a different trajectory of my life and my career. I was in Cooper's Landing along the Kenai River. If any of you are familiar, absolutely gorgeous area. away from traffic, away from high rises, away from the noise and just the hustle and bustle that I was dealing with in South Florida. And I was just sitting on a log looking out over the river, and I saw a bald eagle just swoop down. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's a bald eagle. It's right there in front of me. And it was so low and so close that I could see its face. And then it swooped down and, grabbed a fish and kept going. And it was just this moment where I thought, oh my God, that right there is what life is really all about. Just of being in that moment in nature and feeling so connected and so real. I mean, if this bird doesn't keep getting food, it dies. Simple. None of the other stuff that I spent all of my time and effort on, of chasing deadlines, covering bad news, telling people bad information, running here and there, going to events, seeing and being seen, keeping up with the Joneses, all that stuff that just didn't feel right to me, but that's what I did for a living. And I remember just watching that bird, and something snapped for me in that moment. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to go back home and sit in my newsroom day in, day out, week after week, month after month, year after year, doing what I've been doing. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next, but I don't think it's that. And I didn't re-sign my contract. I took a different change in career path. I ended up just refocusing on some different things that I wanted to do. And I don't know if I would have had the nerve or the gumption to make that change had I not been in that moment with that bald eagle that particular day along the Kenai River. And it was just so beautiful that I remember it to this day. And so I do think in a way that bald eagle saved my life, because it put me on such a different path. And now I live in Northern California. So Carol, hi, we're neighbors, Pico. And I've got beautiful hummingbirds in my backyard. I see hawks flying above me. There's wild turkey every place. I don't know all the names of my birds, but I know we've got woodpeckers that hang out in the backyard, and titmouse, I think that's what they're called, and just so many wonderful species of birds all around, and I love it. And so I'm thankful to that bald eagle for putting me on a different path. So that's my story, and I'm really glad to be here. This is really nice.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you so much for sharing. Molly?
Oh my God, I love that pivotal moment and the visceral. I think birds bring us into such immediacy because they're just so focused. Like you said, I need to get this fish and I need to land it right now. And they just bring us right into that moment. And it's almost like a lightning strike for our presence. And I just love that it carried such a message for you and, provided you with that lift. I mean, talk about a soaring bird that sees the big picture. And actually I have it's like a little tarot. I have a tarot deck, and the eagle represents possibility. And it seems like it brought that into view for you at that moment in your life. Wow. Carly, do you want to read the chat?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so sorry, I went all the way to the top.
No worries. It's part of feeding the story. We call this feeding the story.
Yeah. All right, so someone says, Julia, I love your story and I totally connect with what you're saying. You are such a natural storyteller. I think it's that broadcast voice. I heard it. So it's a beautiful story. Bless. Great story. Bald eagles are awesome. And let's see, your story resonates, especially about how careers can be so unimportant to what really matters in life. Someone says, inspirational, thank you. Another comment, Julia, thanks for sharing your story. I loved it, very inspirational. Thanks for sharing your story. It's a life-changing moment for sure. Keep going on your new path. Lovely story. You were present and you saw what was possible for you. Courageous move you made for your life. Well done. And last comment is so wonderful. So just lots of love. And I agree.
Thank you, Julia. And I have to say, you know, the bald eagle is such a magnificent bird, right? It's almost like to show up in life, it had to show up in a grand, big, right there, can't miss it way, right? Like the message, how could you miss it? So it's wonderful that happened and you had that experience. It's magical. Thank you. And I also want to mention that at the top of the hour is the end of our story hour, but we did this last time we met and it was highly favored. And so we want to do that again. And that's to offer the bonus segment, which is additional 25 minutes, where those who'd like to stay and don't have the opportunity necessarily to share a story can do so in the breakout. So that there's a witness. If you want to hear story and or share stories, there's that opportunity at the top of the hour if you'd like to stay past a bit. So we want to mention that too, because I'm seeing messages in the chat about wanting to share your story. So it is random as we pick according to the mock story slam too. Just want to mention that. And we see you, we hear you.
All right. Let's see.
Do we have time for one more, you think?
Yes, our last storyteller for this format is Lynn. Lynn's awesome iPad. Lynn, are you out there?
There I go. I'm unmuted. Okay. Hi. Yeah, we're over here at a Quonset hut in Oakland. We're both sculptors and painters and artists. And a few years ago, I had broken my, well, what did I break that time? I guess it was my hip. I was recovering, but I had not a wheelchair at that point. I had a walker. And I was sitting at this very table with my back to the open back door. We have a lot of hummingbirds. Horace, who is also an amazing artist, incredible painter and sculptor, public works, you name it. The hummingbird, during the day, if the weather's good, we keep the back door open. So a hummingbird had flown in, and then instead of going out the back door where it came in, it went up to the skylight. And we kept trying to explain to it, just telepathy, the back door, the way you came in, right? And it was battering its little wings there and then just sitting on the edge of the skylight. And this went on for a couple of days. It was really disturbing. We have this long kind of duster thing. We tried to maybe roust it from its fear, to be afraid of the duster and get out the back door. A couple, 3 days went by. And finally, I'm sitting with my back to the back door. It's the middle of the day. And I have my walker behind me. And all of a sudden, I heard this kind of clicking, cheepy screaming noise. Whoa, okay, well, that's strange. I turned around and the hummingbird was sitting on my walker, yelling at me to do something. I swear to God. And it allowed me to pick it up. I held a live hummingbird in my hand. It's like nothing I can't even describe the feeling. It brought tears to my eyes, bring to my eyes right now. And Horace, I called Horace, he was in the kitchen. He came over, and what'd you do, Horace?
A piece of cloth.
And he put a piece of cloth over the hummingbird so that it wouldn't be frightened and have a heart attack. And he took it out to the back door and put it in one of our plants outside. And then we just stood back and, it had to take a breather and then it flew off.
It came to you to be rescued.
Yeah, it came to me to be rescued. And it yelled at me, shut up, stop feeling sorry for yourself and do something to help me. And that's just so amazing. And we have a continual generations of hummingbirds that come back and we feed them out the back door. We have all our potted vegetables and so on. So there you go. That's mine. So I guess I saved the hummingbird and maybe the hummingbird saved me too. What do you think?
Love it, love it, love it. Yes. Yes. Mutual saving. Hello. Hello, hello. See, this is the beauty of being in this space, right? We get to be all parts of the country. We're on the East Coast, Central, West Coast, and just meeting like-minded others, and it's wonderful. So thank you. I like that you both shared in that story and the connection and how the bird saved you and you it, and you noticed. Thank you. The healing, the healing.
We're in a Quonset hut. and the ceiling is about what, 30 feet, something like that, Horace? So we have no lack of space here. So the creature was confused that it's so big here, it should be part of the outdoors. And in fact, in the winter, it feels like we're part of the outdoors because we don't really have any insulation or anything here. So
Yes, in the chats, they're talking, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
yeah, no, I'm finished. Sorry.
Yeah,
So-
I'll dive into the chat. Trisha says, I love that the birds here range from a great eagle to a tiny hummingbird. And then Terry says, what a cool story. Thank you. Alicia says, hummingbirds are truly captivating and adorable. How precious to have a close contact interaction with one. And Leslie says, can't imagine holding a hummer. I can't either. Like their hearts beat really fast, right? So did you feel that at all? Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, I felt it. I felt this vibrant little, warm little, terrified little thing. How brave to do what it did, though. Really, think about it. What bravery it took. But you know, hummingbirds are not exactly shrinking violet type creatures. I mean, it's not afraid of a cat, or you know, they're very bold. They're tiny dinosaurs, I think.
And how brave of you too, if I
Yeah.
dare say so. Yeah. Thank you.
man.
And you.
Oh, no, thank you, Lynn. Yeah, I was gonna ask that question too. What did it feel like to hold a tiny hummingbird?
It was
And-
amazing.
I'll tell a hummingbird story.
Oh, Horace has to add something. I don't know what it is.
Hello. I had an encounter of a different kind with a hummingbird one time. I was on the campus of Cal State Hayward, which is has a broad, sprawling campus of grass, of huge, the size of a couple of football fields. And I was walking across the grass, and a hummingbird hovered right in my face about 2 feet away. And so naturally, I just took one step backwards and it closed the space. And then I repeated stepping backwards 2 more times, and he stayed right there, the same distance. So guess what I did? I turned around and ran. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Buddy. That's a great way to end our story hour at a high note, at a fast-paced high note.
I love that. Yeah, it's like they draw swords with their little, their little beaks. I always thank hummingbirds for breaking up. If I'm ever arguing with my partner, they come in, they start yelling at us to cool it. They're very active in many of our lives. Thank you for bringing in the hummingbirds. And thank you all for this incredible hour. I could sit and listen to you for hours and hours and hours. And I do invite each and every one of you to join us for the next segment of our time together, which are breakout rooms of about 3 or 4 per room. So if you have a story you want to tell, or you just want to sit back and listen to a few more, we'll do that in smaller groups. And if you're here if you're gonna spread your wings from this moment forward, we say thank you so much for being here, and we'll be back again in 2 months in December for the next one. And may birds always be with us and always be saving our lives and us saving theirs. It's a beautiful mutual exchange. Tam, is there anything else you want to say before we go to breakouts?
I do. I just echoing, thank you for the time. Thank you for sharing the space. And as I always say, peace and birds.
And Virginia, anything from you and Carly before we go to breakouts?
I just wanted to say it was so much fun being with everybody and hearing your stories and just feeling the love. So thank you for that opportunity. And I hope to join you again next time. Thank you, Molly. Thank you, Tema.
Thank you, Virginia. Thank you. And I don't know if you can stay or not, but thank you.
You are so welcome. Good night.
Carly, do you want to help us get into some breakout rooms?
Yeah, so they're asking
Yeah.
how to do that. They're asking how to do that. So
Yeah.
those who want to
Should-
stay here for now, and we'll.
Yeah, or I can.
Yeah. I think, yeah, you can definitely do it if you want. I was thinking about waiting a minute or so just to make sure everyone's exited already.
Yeah. So just give it 1 minute. I'll play our favorite little theme music for 1 minute, and then we'll go to breakout rooms. And we say thanks to Sam Watts, Sam's son, for writing that beautiful piece of music inspired by the American Kestrel. All right, so we're gonna break out in 2 rooms right now, and there will be 3 to 4 participants in your room. So same format, 5 minutes per person to tell a story, and then about 1 minute to feed that story. And if you need to leave your breakout room for any reason, then just come on back to the main room. You can just exit, coming back to the main room and hang with Tama, Carly, and I. And we hope you all enjoy each other's stories.
See you in a bit.
Second. Okay. So you should see an invitation to join a breakout room. Go ahead and accept that invitation. Hey, Tama.
Is it just the 2 of us?
Room 2 asked me for help, so I'm gonna go do that. I'll be right back.
Wait, I didn't hear you. No way.
I got some shy folks. They left. How you doing, Tama?
Hi, Esme. Hi, Leslie. Good to see you
I don't know
both.
if you want to keep this room open. I'm happy to hop off.
I don't know. I don't know if we might as well. Hi,
Yeah,
Dwayne.
I can hang out here too. But yeah,
Yeah, I
like
think-
I turned on my video and unmuted in the breakout room, but I lost myself.
Okay. Oh, so we're in the main room.
We're in the
Okay.
main room right now.
Okay, I
Yeah,
see. I see.
yeah, yeah. How many other folks are here? Oh,
Leslie, you're muted, Leslie.
There you go. Yes. There were two other names in the breakout room with me, but nobody responded. So nobody appeared and nobody answered my yoo-hoo kind of call. So I came
Same.
back.
I got shy folks too.
Oh, wow.
It was a really lovely session. Thank you. It was very, very inspiring. It was great. Thank you for your story, Dwayne.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
Yeah, yeah, very nice. What kind of photography do you do?
Mostly birds and birds in flight, and then some additional nature photography.
That's great. That's just great.
So I kicked myself off, Tama, as I was saying, as I was messaging you, but I just want to sign back on and tell you thanks. I wanted to tell you guys, Molly and Carly, thank you as well. I really appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Keep bouncing. I don't know. Does anyone want to have anything else they want to share about the story that they have that they didn't get a chance to share that you want to share?
I'll
I have
share
something I could do. You go ahead, Jennifer. I'll come next.
Was it Esme or Jennifer?
It doesn't matter. Go
Oh
ahead.
no,
Jennifer.
Esme. I saw the other name underneath her box. Sorry.
Oh, mine's super quick. I'll be really, really fast. So recently I had I was just carrying way too much emotional stuff and hadn't unloaded with anybody. And so finally I connected with a therapist and been working with her for a while. And it's interesting, after every session, she asked me what's going to be your self-care plan? And I say, okay, I'm going to go outside, And 3 times I've had the company of birds right after. It's been a mourning dove, it's been a hummingbird, and I don't remember my 3rd bird right now. Actually, no, I write it down. But it's just been really nice to have their company after a healing session. It's almost like they're like, yeah, keep going.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
That's really nice.
Like
Each
that.
time it's a different bird. That's cool.
But it sounds like the timing is like precise after you're like it's not like by an accident. Like this is not this is an affirmation almost of
Yeah, and they
doing
get
and-
close.
yeah.
They get really close. It's almost like they've been in spots where I'm like, you usually don't hang out there. You're really
Wow.
close. And they stay for a while too.
Oh, that's so nice.
It's been good. It's been good. I'm thankful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The timing is amazing, isn't it? Yeah. That's really nice. How do they know?
And so Esme, I have to ask, what are you making? She's an origamist, a Cala origamist.
Wow.
Thank you. I'm working on morning glories right now. I'm working on some California morning glories.
Do you have any cranes, any bird or hummingbirds or?
Oh, I do actually, right here. This is one I showed you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is not my design. It's an origami artist that taught this over Zoom. And he designs hummingbirds, origami hummingbirds, based on the ones that are close to him in Mexico. Very cool.
Incredible. How long does it take to make it?
That one, he taught us this, it probably takes about 20 minutes.
That's all.
20 minutes maybe.
For
And
her.
then I mean, when you're adding all the details and everything,
Yeah.
more.
For her, only 20 minutes. Oh my gosh. That's fantastic.
Well, I highly encourage you guys to check out his work, actually. A lot of birds.
What's his name?
His name is Secuat Leon. So it's on Instagram, it's at CEK Secuat. CEKOUAT at Secuat. There might be a Leon there, LEON.
Wait, what is it?
The at sign, CEKOUAT. And if that's not correct, Hannah, you can message me.
Okay.
All right, so we're in the main room here. Okay,
Mhm.
quite a few folks. We have some bird stories out there. Jennifer, Sandra. We have Sandra and Sandra, Lois, Leslie.
I just thought of a bird story.
Okay.
I actually almost forgot about this one. So like maybe like 10 years ago, when we first moved out to Cupertino, like I was out there, came out of the garage, went and wiped down my windows. And when I came back, there was a lot of peeping in the garage. And I'm going in there, I'm like, where are these little peeps coming from? And I go and I look and I see 3 fledgling juncos in there. The first 2 flew out, but the third one decided to sit on my finger and let me carry him out. It was really cute. And so I watched them for an hour after that. I watched them hopping around and they jumped up on my car and were checking out their like reflection in the glass and mirrors. It was really cool.
Did they come back?
They must have come back because I did remember seeing some little fledglings hopping around, and I can identify a lot of birds because I used to take care of like baby songbirds. And so like, just like I hear them out there and I was like, I know there's a baby somewhere. I may not see it, but I can hear it. It's a lot of fun.
They have such a sweet tinkling sound. I don't know how else to call it, like a tinkling, twinkling sound.
I think the best baby songbird was the one of the grosbeaks. So it came into the wildlife center when I used to volunteer there, and it was such a musical song. Oh, just like out of all the babies that came in, that was the one that's singing while I was still in the nest. It was really cute.
Wow.
That's great.
Are you in California?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I love that. I love when you kind of like, it's amazing how many people are not tuned in to birds and nests and and chicks and all of that. And you can go your whole life and never really notice the little juvenile begging or chicks, making themselves.
Yeah, I go out there and I'm hearing during the summertime, I'm like, I know who that is. I'm like, it's like been observing them for so long, taking hundreds of thousands of pictures to identify everybody. But like I can identify most of the species that are in my neighborhood and around the area.
Yeah. And then it's so fun. You're like, oh, there's a nest over there. There's a nest over there. And there's one above my house. Like, and you get to know where all the little families are hanging out.
Yeah. And it's also fun watching it when mom and dad are actually taking care of the babies.
Or being chased around by their babies going, feed me, feed me, feed me.
Yeah,
It's
fun.
tough. It's tough. Oh my God.
Since you're talking about baby birds, I have a very, very short thing that I can read. It's called Crow Family Values. And this is actually not my experience, it's Jonathan's experience. Jonathan told me his experience with the crow dedication to family. He saw a little crow jumping around on the street in front of our house. It scooted under his parked car. Dan, our across the street neighbor, has one tree in his front yard. The tree is very tall and stands near the sidewalk. Crows build their nest every year at the top of his tree. Suddenly, now I get it about the pirate's ship's crow's nest. One thing to be told because it is at the highest place available for a lookout, another to see a real crow looking out from a real nest. Jonathan tried to catch the baby crow as it danced around. It seemed to have no particular direction to its activity. Jonathan was not at all sure what he would have done with it if he had caught it, but he worried about its safety because of all the traffic. It looked like it might have been able to fly, but maybe not very well. As he approached the bird, two big crows were going wild in our sweet gum tree nearest the street. They started to dive bomb him, flying directly at Jonathan's head, then going back to the tree, then making another dive. The little crows stayed under the car. When Jonathan went inside, the crows were quiet. The baby must have left the car. Maybe it was hiding more from mom and dad than from Jonathan. I don't know. I guess crows have times when they want to run away too.
Have to like process your story. It's beautiful. If that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. This morning, I mean, this is in terms of life-saving or saving lives. The crows kind of almost nearly have won me over. Nearly, kind of, almost. Because at 5 o'clock this morning, I didn't go outside to see them. There were so many crows screaming and doing whatever communicating they do. And it was too cold. Otherwise, I used to, when I wasn't used to it, I mean, they always wake me up. I used to just run outside and scream back at them. I'd say, stop this, go away, go to sleep, whatever. I'd be in my pajamas and my slippers or something. And I didn't care if anybody saw me or heard me. I wanted the crows to stop being so crow-like, and that wasn't going to work. I called the Audubon Society, this is a bunch of years ago, because there were suddenly so many crows and there hadn't been many at all before that. And of course, the climate had changed, and they used to stay, big bunches of them used to be in the Central Valley, in much east of where we are. And it was good for them to feed off of the corn and the strawberries or whatever was out there. But now Fresno is a big city. And what happened is the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, is warm, a lot warmer. I'm saying warm, it's really hot. It gets hot. And I mean, we had 105 this summer. So the crows found out that there are a lot of slobs that live in the Bay Area. There's bits of food on the street, and there's candy wrappers, and there's all this kind of stuff. And they absolutely have no fear of humans or cars. They just don't move. They figure, get out of my way. So I called the Audubon Society, and I wanted to know how come they're suddenly here. And they gave me the climate explanation partly. And then the person I talked to seemed to have sort of a subtext to what he was saying. He said, crows are really, really smart. Well, I'd seen that on television. They're really, really smart. And he said, and they're really interesting. They're really interesting. You should watch the crows. You will really enjoy watching the crows. And then I kind of heard he's telling me, don't bother the crows. Don't try and make them go away. Try getting into crows. Just stick with it. Get with the crows. You can enjoy the crows. So that didn't save my life, but I don't run outside in my pajamas that much anymore. And yeah, they're around. They're around.
They know you.
They know me. One time I was walking up our block, made a right turn on another block, and one of the crows, I am convinced it was the same crow. Well, he did what they say as the crow flies. He had gone diagonally as I went this way and that way and this way around the blocks. This crow flew diagonally and he followed me. I was like, I didn't do it. Whatever it was, I didn't do it. But he was absolutely tracking me. It was hysterical. It was really funny, kind of, in a funny kind of a way.
I think crows are on to us all the time.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've had times where I go outside, if I'm having a bad mood or I'm, you know, they're like, I swear they just start like mobbing and following, and they're like, we're keeping track of you, you know, like they're just like, I don't know, they can like read your mind, they know what's going on.
I have a question about crows.
Yes.
They have usually 2, 3, 4, and 5 claws. Has anybody noticed that?
I can't tell.
I have a neurotic crow that goes 8, 10, 12 times clawing, so I think there's something wrong with him or her.
Wow.
Either that or she is highly upset about what's going on.
Yeah,
There's usually 2 or 3 is, hey, I'm around, here I am.
Wow.
4 or 5 is this. There's action down on down the block, some dead meat on the ground, something like that.
But 12 means,
Huh?
but 12 cause, that's.
Yeah, really psychotic.
We had a hawk parked on this is a very small house with a little peak on top of the peak. And we were so interested to see this hawk because you just don't see hawks around here. And all of a sudden, as though from no place, the gang came, the murder, and they scared away that hawk. I didn't believe that would happen. And they flew at it, and the crow went here, the hawk went there, and then they flew at it again and went here and went there. It was really something, and the hawk never came back. It was a territorial issue, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sandra says power in numbers.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
And their cause.
We just have a few minutes left, but any other stories in this group here?
I was with Carlene. She suggested I read these poems to you guys.
All right.
This one was written when I was in Mexico. The La Frigata, the frigate, soaring in the wind, crooked black wings, catching every nuance of breeze and each shift of wind, hovering, almost still, long, thin tail, wing tips spread, the perfect glider turns gently into swift, sleek dive, arching again into slow, silent soar, the common frigate.
Nice.
And
wow,
on a different breeze. That was written about 20 years ago in Puerto Escondido, Mexico, on the Gulf Coast, Pacific Coast. The gray-crowned tit. Look, my friends, at the gray-crowned tit. He often come to eat and to flit with his gray-crowned mate, showing up for some delectable treat, shaped to fly, so trim, so neat. 2 shades of gray and a touch of brown. He hips and he hops all over Garden Town with a chip and a twit, a zip and a zazz. His song is off key, but a bit like jazz. Bonnie calls him the plain gray titmouse, but with that crest on his head, he is more than that. Gray-crowned tit with a cardinal's poise. You wouldn't think one so little could make all that noise.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you,
Thank
Carlene, for Jean read his poems.
What's that?
I'm thanking Carly for asking you to share your beautiful creations. Thank you.
I just read a whole bunch of poems at the Berkeley Fellowship a week on my birthday, the 14th, which was the first time the fellowship had been open in 2.5 years. So I was getting ready. I'm getting ready to put those into a book of poetry.
Well, share them with us too.
Well, like we said to Leslie last time, we said, well, if you will ever want to publish those, your works, we can publish them to the Audubon blog and share them with our members. So if you have any interest in that, I know you said you're saving them for your book, but if you have any interest in publishing through Audubon, let me know.
I surely will give that some considered thought.
Great.
Yeah, like 1 or 2 poems. I mean, that'll just kind of whet the appetite to get the book later.
Mhm.
Right. Got some great authors in here. Poets, authors, singers. This has been quite the night, I have to say.
Yes.
Quite the night.
And fun.
What is
Yeah.
your theme for next time, or have you decided?
Don't know yet.
Okay, I'll be on the lookout. It's a wonderful experience, what you're doing. I
And-
thank you both very much.
How often is it? Every other month, or the particular night?
It's typically,
Third Thursday.
yeah,
That seems
fourth
to be-
Thursday, last
yeah.
Thursday. But I think December will be a little bit earlier in the month, probably December 8th or 15th.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, I might get in touch with you with these poems.
Okay, great.
Oh yeah, do you want to give the email, or how do we get your
Yeah.
email, or?
Put it in the chat here.
Well, I think, let's see.
Alright.
Whose name is it? Who's got is on this connection to this meeting? Whose name is
It's
that?
in the chat now.
Yeah, can you open
No,
it?
I know we're in a chat, but who's the name to open the connection, the link? Who's
Molly,
who?
Molly.
Molly.
Well, I can I contact you through Molly?
Yeah. Or Jean, what's your email address?
Gene BH@lmi.net.
Can you say that one more time?
Gene BH, all lowercase.
Uh-huh.
GENE, B as in Barry, H as in Herman. At LMI, Lewis Michael Irving.net.
Okay. Great. All right, everybody. Breakout rooms are closing momentarily.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
Hang on, it's because we want to close out with everyone together who's still there, so we can close out, and thank you for sharing in this space here.
Thank you for having this.
Yeah, it came out of our love of birds and telling stories and not wanting to drive our family and others batty, pun intended, with our stories, because they're just, oh no, not another one. Oh no, not another one. So why not with more birdie people and hear all kinds of stories and share them? So.
And I knew there's just good stuff out there. And I was like, I want to be regaled. I was like, tell me your stories, people. I want to hear what's happening out there.
Yeah.
And it's extraordinary.
Yep.
Emma, thank you for answering my plea for the link.
Well, I don't know how to shorten them. I'm not that savvy.
Oh, I don't worry about that, but I
Okay.
didn't, I either didn't get it or it disappeared under mountains of, the election coming.
Yeah.
But
I'm
I
glad you got it.
thank you for helping me. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you all for having this. And I'll
You're welcome.
see you around the quad.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Jean. Thank you for your sharing your poetry.
So Gina, are you still in Mexico? Or is that what you said? You're still in Mexico, or?
Nope.
Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Well, now we don't know the answer.
I think his Mexico was like or going to Mexico was just a trip,
Oh, okay.
I believe. But if you want to shorten a URL, I can help you with that. I don't know if that's of any interest, but it's a pretty
Yes.
simple like website. I can send you the link and you can, yeah, I'll share that with you later.
Okay, yeah, I need a lot of help with that.
It worked.
Welcome
I know
back,
there's a
everybody.
way.
Welcome back,
welcome.
everybody, from your breakout rooms. I hope that you feel fully nourished and regaled and inspired, and like you're gonna go to sleep and dream like you're flying on the wind, and that you'll be excited to go out and have your next birdie adventure and bring it back to us in two months' time. So in December, and we'll be sending out an invitation for the next one coming up. Tama and Carly, do you have anything else you want to share?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me here today. This was my first bird story hour. So, and I didn't know what to expect coming in, and I'm blown away by everyone's stories and also everyone's support here. Everyone's so sweet. So I definitely will be coming back, and yeah, it was a really exciting night.
Thank you, Carly. It was nice to meet you, and I'm glad you're here too. And thank you, everyone that went to the breakout and came back and celebrating all that there is about life and living with birds. I'm always so honored with everyone's presence.
Let's see.
So thank you. And like Molly said, we'll be back in a couple of months with another theme. Sometimes it's a species specific theme, and sometimes it's a theme like this, you know, of life, just to underscore the connection between birds, our feathered friends, and our day-to-day life experiences. So have a good couple of months in the meantime. See you around in social media and otherwise. And out in the yards, and outside and in the yards, right?
That's right. Keep looking up, as you say, Tama.
Keep looking up. It's coming out soon, the book.
Oh, wow.
Yes. You can go to tamawatts.com. It's a book it's called Keep Looking Up, Your Guide to the Powerful Healing of Bird Watching with Hay House. It's anywhere you buy books, you can get it. I'm not good about plugging it, huh? No. But it's coming out in March of next year.
Wow, that's so exciting.
Yeah, they just went to print yesterday, so it's exciting. It's so exciting that I'm under excited. Like I haven't even processed that it went to print. That they're like it's yeah. So it's all about
fabulous. Great. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Carol, did you just try to say something, Carol?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
My friends got their...
It was a great it's great meeting you all, and next time I'll try to have a story.
That's good. Thanks for being here, Amy.
Thank you.
So
Carol, were you gonna say something too?
Yeah, I'm just very surprised we have to wait till March if it's already gone to print.
Yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes. I mean, that means, you know, it's in the queue with a bunch of other books, right? You know, so it's, yeah, and it's going to come out around spring. So it'll be in print before then, but it won't be published until March 7th.
Oh.
Yeah. And it'll have an audio book too.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll be
fantastic.
Yeah. So if you want to order it, you can. So it'll be in your hands on the 7th or not, but more on that. But it's about the healing in connection with birds and life stories. I am not young, so it goes back to the early 60s on up, different experiences, and like a guidebook as well. And my background is mental health, and so there's therapeutic and reflective exercises at the end of each chapter too, to kind of reinforce the theme of that particular chapter. Yeah,
that's fabulous. And should we just look for you online, or do we look for the publisher?
You can just, if you really want, if you put Tama Watts and Keep Looking Up, you'll see that it comes up. Yeah. So how some people buy through indie books, others through Amazon, it's like I said, it'll be with Hay House, it'll be in different markets. So yeah.
Great.
I love that it's coming right at the beginning of like the heyday, like the spring fling for birds, you know. Like they're all gonna be like mating and flying around, doing their thing, migrating back in, and then your book will arrive right in like that, you know.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tama.
Yeah. And for me, a yellow warbler is what helped save my life. It was a yellow warbler outside my kitchen window is how I started connecting with birds and then going from there. Yeah.
Wow.
And your book
What
has
did-
that story, right?
That story is in chapter 1, part of chapter 1, which is bird watching at home. There's bird watching in the environment, bird watching when you travel, bird watching in relationships, bird watching and mental health and health. So yeah, different aspects. Meditation, mindfulness. I do mindfulness meditation in birds. So
Right.
it's different. It's different.
Sounds wonderful.
Thank you.
Oh, congratulations. That's just exciting. You don't have to be excited. We're excited.
I agree. It's been a journey. Like other things in life, it's been a journey. And, you know, it's connected to birds. And, you know, I've met wonderful people in Audubon, California, like Molly and now Carly and all of you. I mean, it's all part of this grander life experience that goes beyond. That's what I feel like. Birds transcend us and all of that. So that's why sometimes when birds show up and it's like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Why is that bird here? Why is that bird staying so long? Why is that? It just seems like it's defying reasoning, right? It's and for me, that's nature. That's however you want to look at that. Some people say spirit, some say God, some say the universe. Whatever that connection is, that's what that is that connection with the more than human world that we have. Don't get me started on birdiness. We'll do a bird. I'll do for folks. We'll do a bird chat about that with the book and stuff. We'll do a book club or something. We could talk more about that at some point too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a
Thank
million,
you.
ladies.
Good
Bye.
night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Till next time.